welcome to Geeking Out, the show that embraces the geek, celebrates the geek, and devours the geek.
We're all geeks today, all of us. I mean, I don't care how old you are, I don't care who you are. You're passionate about some of this stuff, the TV, the games, the toys, the films. We're catching you up on the things that you may be hugely passionate about, but you didn't know this little nugget about.
That's right, man, and we've been involved in a lot of cool stuff. Got friends in high places. We're gonna bring you into the action of places you've never seen before, man. Deep cuts.
So this interview was, this was actually kind of weird for me.
Why?
Because he's my best friend in the whole world.
So it should have been the easiest interview of your life.
Well, it is, but like, I've known him since he was 5. Both of us, we grew up together.
Tell him who it is.
J.J. Abrams.
There it is, drop the name.
Yeah, man.
Drop the name.
One of the best filmmakers that we have. He obviously did Star Wars, Star Trek, both of those movies I had a tiny part in, but I owe my career to him, from Felicity to Alias to Lost, but I love him so much, and it was just so much fun to sit down with him on the steps of the Psycho House and hear why that place was so special to him. We shot the Heroes pilot on this lot.
Really?
Yes. And all I wanted to do was jump in a golf cart. To being in a golf cart with you, I feel like I'm 10 years old.
Doesn't it make you feel like, well, this is the movie biz?
Yeah.
Golf cart equals movie business. Doesn't even equal golf.
That's right.
It equals movie business. Take a left down here. This is Wisteria Lane.
They shot Desperate Housewives right here. You and I could just bang each other right here on this lawn, and it would be the talk of the neighborhood.
Desperate House bitches, that's us.
Exactly. Desperate House Bears.
Yeah, that's a show.
Oh, look at the coyote! That's not part of the tour right there.
Well, he's sitting here looking at all these houses going, I don't understand why there's no food.
I checked all the trash cans.
All the garbage is empty. These people are impeccably neat.
Bates Motel. And here's Norman Bates right here.
He's committed.
Okay, so JJ's supposed to meet us up here.
The Psycho House.
Yeah.
JJ!
Hey, what's up, buddy?
JJ Abrams!
JJ!
Come make a movie with JJ Abrams!
Right now!
How long have you guys known each other?
I keep saying
Medical
when we were
school, right?
4, and you say when we were 5.
Yeah,
Medical school.
Greg exaggerates almost everything. I moved to Los Angeles when I was 5.
Yeah.
So we probably met when I was 5.
In school, in Temple, where?
We met at Roscommon Road Elementary School. My dad was in the clothing business.
Okay.
Knowing Greg, that's when I knew I wanted to get into the schmata business. Now, schmata, for those of you who don't know, you put it on the screen. Schmata
Is
means
clothing.
Yeah. No, but we obviously met in kindergarten, and it was around that time that my grandfather took me to this lot. And I was...
As the tour, just like...
Just on the tour.
Tours.
Yeah,
Same thing at every family.
Yeah, and back in the day when there were no real rides,
Right.
and it was just the tour. And I remember walking through the special effects and the makeup stuff and the stunt show and all these things that just made me feel like if I could ever be part of, all I wanted to be was one of those people not on the tram.
Right.
You know, driving around. And the fact that we get to drive up here and sit here, Psycho House, it literally is like a dream come true.
When you were directing TV, and when you were directing Star Wars, like, you had the same flexibility on set, even though there's $200 million on your back, whatever the hell the movie
I
cost.
have the same actor.
He's like your Hector Elizondo if you were Gary Marshall.
That's right.
He's in everything you do.
Hector stopped working years ago.
But we still have him in our hearts.
Trust me, I know how lucky I am with that, but it doesn't really mean anything compared to our friendship.
Well, I'll tell you, thank you for saying that, but being on the Star Wars set and having Greg to turn to, like, there's Carrie, and there's Harrison, and there's Anthony Daniels, totally dressed as 3PO, and it's insane, it's impossible, it's the most surreal thing ever. So I get to look over at Greg and be like, what are you doing here?
Why is that? Why are we like that? Why do we put people like Greg in our stuff? Why are we loyalists? What is that?
That's charity? Come on, guys.
But the fact is, I've been so lucky from the beginning of my career to work with people who are so great that every time I freaked out, and it was certainly true on Star Wars, I would look at the people, you know, with whom I'm working, and I knew that when there was a question, when there was an uncertainty, there were people around who were in the same situation that I was in, which was, how do we make this and how do we make it great? The thing is, like, whenever you're doing anything, you have to be able to be comfortable enough to have fun doing it and sort of discover inspiration. And
Right.
it's interesting, we're on the set of Psycho because Hitchcock famously storyboarded every shot. And when he was shooting, he was just adhering in this kind of militant way to what he had storyboarded. I storyboard, and it's so helpful to do that. I certainly could learn from Alfred Hitchcock. But I always find that if you don't open yourself up to the better idea, that you can sometimes limit how good something can be.
Coming up, you brought back Westworld.
I loved it as a kid. I don't think it's what anyone expects necessarily.
Do you, like, when you look ahead, you brought back Westworld. It looks like a film.
He's violent. He likes have violent ends.
It's a movie that was made in the 70s that Michael Crichton wrote and directed, and I loved it as a kid. About 20-some years ago, I met with Michael Crichton about doing it as a movie. He's since passed away. Started working on it as a TV series a few years ago. Jonah Nolan and Lisa Joy are writing it, producing it. It's this sort of epic, crazy, philosophical action-adventure show about consciousness, about what it is to be human. I'm thrilled for people to see it. I don't think it's what anyone expects necessarily. It looks incredible. It really does.
It's just so cool.
Think about it. You aggregated fandom into a career. Everybody watching this wants to be not necessarily you, but have the, like, boy, how does one take those steps to that?
Are you talking to me or are you talking to him
Of
right
course,
now?
because you're the most successful person on these steps. But being that JJ's here, let's ask him. What is it, man? What is the thing, the one thing you think that got you from driving around this lot, looking around and going, I wish, to being the man? You're the modern day Spielberg.
What I would say is that don't be in this business because you want to become famous or you want to, like, you know, make a lot of money. It's like, if you love it enough that it's the thing you have to do, then that's the only destiny. You know, if you can find a way to make a living doing the thing you love, it's the dream of all time. No matter what, luck plays a part I cannot describe. The confluence of events it's so lucky.
I forget where I was. I don't know if it was at a premiere, but I saw somebody get up and introduce you, and they talked about when you were younger, you worked on Spielberg videos, or did you touch the hem of greatness as a youngster?
What happened was I was in a Super 8 film festival with Matt Reeves, and there was an article in the LA Times about us, and Kathy Kennedy called the next day and said, we have these movies of Steven Spielberg's that he made when he was your age that we found that need to be repaired. Are you guys available to repair them? So we're like, what? Now, this is around E.T. It made no sense. As I'm telling you, it makes no sense.
Did you keep any of the damage?
I remember saying to Matt, let's take one frame, just where it says, by Steve Spielberg, and Matt was like, no, we can't do that. He was so moral and righteous.
And you underhanded
and I was just,
climbed to the top.
I was just a thief.
I remember,
No,
I remember being there going, can I have one little piece? Can I have,
It was a classic Greg. He was not there.
No, we can cut out where he says I wasn't there, right? Okay.
Now, what point in your life did you re-meet or meet Spielberg? And
What happened was I was writing with Jill Mazursky, and she and I were called in to meet with Steven about doing a Roger Rabbit sequel.
No!
Yes.
Wow.
At the end of the meeting, I said, Mr. Spielberg, just when I was 16, and he stopped me, he goes, yeah, you repaired my movies.
No!
And then he said the weirdest thing, which I still can't understand. He said, Kathy Kennedy calls you her protege. She was one who called me almost 30 years to the day when she called about the movies to offer Star Wars.
Wow. Dude, you're like Ray. You walked into a room, picked up a lightsaber, saw a bunch of flashes, and then you were like, I can't handle this. And like, one day he's going to be able to handle this. You were destined.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
It makes absolute sense. You're one of the gems.
You're awesome gentlemen.
Where do I fit in this?
Are you here? Oh my God, I didn't even see him. I didn't even see him.
You're
I swear
the
to God.
steak.
Give me a hug.
You're
Give me
the
a hug.
steak
Group
in
hug,
a
group
great
hug.
director, bad director
Smile for
sandwich.
the camera.
Don't use this for a commercial, please.
No, we're not.
I'm kidding.
What'd I tell you?
He's a beautiful man. I like that guy so much, man. I know he's been a big padrino in your career. He's always worked with you and stuff, but he's honestly one of our best and brightest.
What's interesting is I don't think we've seen his best yet.
You don't think so?
No, and what I mean by that is, you know, he took a franchise, these beloved franchises, right? Star Wars, Star Trek,
And
he brought
Mission
them
Impossible,
and
three of them.
Yeah, and brought them back, opened up the audience in a huge way, made you remember why you loved these franchises so much. I think we have yet to see his Star Wars and his Star Trek. I don't know what that is.
I love him. You must love him because he's like a brother to you.
Spoiler, he loves you too.
He does, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
You put me in Star Wars, too. My voice was in The Force Awakens.
I know.
I voiced a stormtrooper. You were actually on set, though. That's the bigger deal.
That's true.
You could tell.
Daniel Craig, he was also a stormtrooper.
Now you're rubbing it in. I know I'm not Daniel Craig. I'm not even Greg Remberg. Coming up, you're bodily in a Rogue One.
I'm a droid, so I'm bodily behind.
You're bodily behind a droid? That sounds very sexy. This is Harley Quinn's bat from Suicide Squad.
This is the bat from the movie?
Well, to be fair, it's a movie, so they probably made 3. They always make multiples.
How did you get this?
I did this thing for Warner Brothers. When I got back home 2 days later, a package came, and there was a note that said, thanks for doing us a favor, Warner Brothers. I pulled the bat out. I'm like, I know who I'm going to give this to. And my kid was sitting there. I said, kiddo, do you know what a totem is? And she's like, what is that? I was like, it's something holy, something sacred that gives one power, gives one strength. Everybody in life needs a totem. I said, this thing will be your totem. You can hold on to it. And she opened it up, and she pulls out this bat. My daughter's name is Harley Quinn. She starts bawling. She's like, ah! Like, messy, just blubbering and stuff. Never seen anyone more happy to receive anything in their life. It literally hangs in her bedroom on the wall over her bed.
All right, so to have one of these guys on the show would be absolutely incredible. To have both of them is just a dream. These guys worked together, I think, 38 years ago on a show called Firefly. Then they did a movie called Serenity.
Was that 38 years ago?
38 years ago.
Seems like a minute.
But it cemented a relationship that geeks all over the world just crave for more, and thank God they do. They've got a show called Con Men. Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk, let's hear it!
Hey, love these guys.
I'll be here in a second.
I want to check that math on 38, but it does sometimes feel like that many years.
It's remained so incredibly popular that you guys now did a crowdfunding campaign to finance this show. Right?
Comment, yeah.
It's just a really great show, and it happens to take place in the world of cons.
I started going to conventions right after Firefly. You invited me my first. And we've been going to them now for 13, 14 years, all over the world. Ray Nearly, my character, is missing the point of his life, that he doesn't embrace the fans who are right there loving him, supporting him.
Oh, good God, I bit my tongue.
Second season. Any huge names that you can throw out that are going to show up? Because that's the fun thing about that show. You never know who's going to show up.
Stan Lee may.
Ooh.
Hey, Stan Lee may come
That's
in.
good.
Lou Ferrigno. I've always been a big fan of Lou Ferrigno because of growing up when we grew up.
So what do you do when you have Lou Ferrigno in your show? What do you have him do? The musical of Mice and Men.
Right.
Just what I was about to say.
I mean, I think using the con and using the people that you've met along the way, I mean, it's classic.
Con Man's not just limited to the show. You guys got the comic book series, but now there's also the app game.
What you're doing in the game is you're building a con.
Someone described it to me as a farming game. You plant things,
It's kinda
they
like
grow,
Farmville.
you get...
It's like Sim City of con.
There's a very familiar looking character in it.
Yeah, the security
Action.
guard. The security guard looks remarkably like you.
I was absolutely honored and flattered, but the game itself is actually fun. It's one thing when they're like, hey, you're gonna be kind of a version of you being in the game. You're like, right on. And then when you play the game, you're like, oh, this is actually a fun game. Thank God it worked out for everybody involved.
It's so good. I think we were all in Star Wars. Oh, wait.
Damn it.
You weren't in Star Wars,
That's
were you?
true, I wasn't true.
You're not in Star Wars yet?
Were you in Star Wars?
Yes!
Come on, dude.
Yes, yes!
I was just a voice, though. I don't know if mine counts. You're bodily in a Rogue One.
I'm a droid, so I'm bodily behind this great...
You're bodily behind a droid? That sounds very sexy. I really want to see this Rogue One now.
Yes. He's 7'1" in black, and
We're still talking about Star Wars, or
he is.
what happened?
He is. That's my character.
The captain says you are a friend. I will not kill you.
Thanks.
Obviously, they went, get me Alan Tudyk.
Yeah.
What's the character's name?
K2SO. K2SO. He's...
You know how, like, real Star Wars that is? You've got call letters.
Right.
That takes it back to R2, C-3PO. What's it short? Like C-3PO,
K2S.
everyone says 3PO?
K2S.
Go Luna's character, Cashin. K2! K2! Get over here!
Oh my God, that's deep cuts. We're learning about stuff before the movie comes out. I heard a very funny story about you speaking to Anthony Daniels, the guy who did play C-3PO in Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's my C-3PO.
He was telling me they would screw him into the C-3PO costume. He's like, it's better now, but it pinches here, all of that. And he goes, I said, well, I'm K2SO this. He's like, oh, I heard you. You're the droid. I heard about you. You're gonna be the droid in this one. Are you wearing a costume or are you CGI? And I said, oh, I'm CGI. You That's who Anthony Daniels is.
Yeah.
You're like, nah, you.
How secretive did you have to be?
Apparently not very. He just told us about the K2.
Right.
This is a story I haven't told of.
Hold that. We are going to commercial. When we come back, we got more with Alan and Nathan. Stay right there.
Rogue One.
What's your story, Al?
I'm calling myself out on something. They do give you your sides. At the end of the day, I was like, I lost my sides. I lost my sides. And for 3 days, I was looking for them around. It was like muddy and like searching. It's like, this is gonna show up because it has your name across it. So if it shows up on the internet, you know who they're gonna come looking for. And I went to Diego and said, Diego, I don't know what to do. I lost my sides 3 days ago. He goes, I've lost like 5. I can't be expected to hold on to my sides. Come on, we got a lot to do here. It's like, oh, good.
Yeah, no big deal.
I feel good.
It's pretty damn amazing. You grew up in Canada.
I did.
How come Degrassi or the King of Kensington or the Beachcombers? How come Canadian entertainment? Look at that.
Yeah, wow, the Beachcombers, you went deep.
How come those shows
he's amazing.
couldn't contain the talent?
A tape I sent to Vancouver for a Canadian film went from Vancouver to LA to New York in the course of a year. I got a call saying we have an opening for an audition for you, and 2 weeks later I was living in New York City.
Wow.
On a
Doing
soap
what?
opera.
What was it?
A soap opera, One Life to Live.
How long were you on the show for?
3 years to the day.
3
Had a
years?
wonderful time.
What kind of acting training is that? That's kind of
The best.
Thrown into
feels
the fire.
like it, right?
The best. They're so good and they never stop. I also learned this at the end of a soap opera scene. Inside your head, this is as you slowly push in on his, did I leave the stove on? I did leave the stove on. No, wait, I turned the stove off. That's what you do.
That's what that 3
For
seconds of
every
acting
scene,
is?
yeah, every scene, that'll work.
It doesn't matter. Oh my God, it told the whole story.
It did. Come on.
Every scene.
Nathan Fillion, everybody.
I'll never forget that. I'll never forget the day I learned that, and I never stopped using it since.
If we go back to Firefly, are we gonna see that moment? Really? Con Man?
Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, Alan and Nathan, let's hear it. You guys are... Oh, there they are.
Creepy wonderful. Grunberg, let me ask you this. Top geek movie this summer.
The movie that I loved I thought Justin Lin did an incredible job with Star Trek.
In the old Star Trek world, the odd number movies sucked, and the even number movies ruled.
That's true.
In the new Star Trek world, the odd number movies so far have been dynamite, and the even one was a little soft.
Yeah, and plus I was in the first and the third. That may have helped.
That might have helped.
So, you know, you look back, look, 1975 was Jaws.
Jaws, summer
right?
Jaws.
And in 10 years, when I say, what was the movie this year? What do you think that movie was?
I don't know. See, I could do my past way better. Like 1986 will always be the summer of Aliens to me.
Yeah.
Every movie got judged against that movie for me. This summer, honestly, this would have to be the summer of Civil War. It's beyond good. Like, Marvel goes up to bat now. They're just minting brilliance.
I
So
agree.
that was the only movie this summer that could have disappointed me because my expectations are so high and they deliver. That airport sequence was hands down the single best comic book movie action sequence in any film everywhere.
I totally agree. So I think Civil Wars is going to be the movie that will replay and replay and replay. I will be consuming that movie for the next 10 years.
But to me, I think 2016 will always be the summer of DC movies.
DC definitely defined this year.
Yeah, this was their big start. Like, everybody was waiting for, like, they're putting Batman and Superman together, now Wonder Woman's in it. So it began. Now it feels like, all right, we're on firm ground. Let's move forward from here.
The movie that I was the most disappointed with is Suicide Squad. Because
The other DC movie that came out this summer.
45 minutes into the movie, you're still putting graphics up. You're starting another classic song. You're introducing another character. I was like, when is this going to end? It's a music video that just keeps leading into a music video.
I get it. I watched that movie and I was like, this is not going to wear well with some.
Yeah.
But me, I grew up reading that book. I never thought I'd see a movie where Deadshot was a character. Not only did he bring him to life, but Will Smith, was actually insanely funny.